Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's going on, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we have a completely new Star Wars update for something that's entirely new. Something it's heard of within the Star Wars community. It's more of a fan concept, really, I think, at that, but I think it is something I think that everyone would love to see, that there would be a Star Wars What If show, and we just got more rumored information on this potential thing happening. We, of course, are going to break it all down with all the different rumors and leaks are saying here about this potential possible upcoming project are saying here, what we're anticipating to see with this, and when to see this actually even. Before we do though, however, grab that subscribe button if you haven't already, as we're discussing and covering all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. So if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab that subscribe button today and join us here on the channel. Not just that, but I would also love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions and theories in the comments down below, specifically and especially what kind of what if Star Wars scenarios would you like to see in a potential possible Star Wars What If show for Disney Plus in the comments down below. Okay, so as I think we all know, over the past few years, we've seen Marvel Studios, by which if you're a Marvel fan, we have our Marvel channel linked in the description down below, shift its focus from Thanos and the Infinity Stones and saga to the multiverse with their multiversal saga. What does this have to do with Star Wars? Well, while fans have been slow to warm to the concept overall, largely due to what's being perceived as a dip in the quality, although I don't really believe it to be all that much, the likes of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and the What If animated show from Marvel Studios have proved that potential. As of today, that's something that we could see expand across into other franchises, especially and specifically Star Wars. And now it appears that Star Wars might be about to take a page from the latter's book. So according to insider and scooper Daniel Richman, who is a very reputable leaker when it comes to these industry insider news here, it kind of goes across the board for Marvel and Star Wars, covering this, recently broke news that Lucasfilm is potentially possibly developing its own What If styled Star Wars TV show for Disney Plus. It's essentially the same concept, exactly the same principle of what Marvel Studios currently has going with their animated show. We would see a similar thing for Star Wars essentially. I think that there's going to be a few key differences, such as the animation style. I think if for anything is actually going to be very close to with what the Clone Wars animation style is, or the Bad Batch and Star Wars Rebels. That kind of animation style I think is what they would actually do for Star Wars instead. Then again, it is very similar to with what Marvel Studios does, but yes, there is a difference. We have no idea whether it's going to be animated or live action though, actually even kind of bringing that into the discussion of things, but I'm going to lean to the fact that it's probably going to be animated. The former would make it easier both in terms of casting and exploring some of the more wild different timelines and opportunities, those different kind of scenarios. I think an animated What If show is really the only way to go, quite honestly, given how difficult it would be able to pull off live action things. It would take forever, it would be very expensive, I think, even, and also with the idea of that this is something that would be a little bit more experimental under the Star Wars umbrella. They're going to want to dip their toes in a little bit carefully and slowly. We can't imagine it will be titled anything as to the nose as What If Star Wars, as the Marvel and Star Wars franchises are very much their own thing, despite both being owned by Disney, as into the sense of that I don't think that Star Wars would name their What If show essentially What If, because that name's kind of already taken from Marvel. Still though, however, this isn't the first time that Lucasfilm has weighed in on that possibility of exploring alternate timelines at the same time. It's very nearly happened in a scrapped Star Wars Battlefront video game and heading into Ahsoka as well. Rumors had swirled that the World Between Worlds would actually explore a timeline as to where Ahsoka Tano had confronted Anakin Skywalker and Mustafar in place of Obi-Wan Kenobi instead. There's an example of a prime What If thing I think that a lot of people would love to see. Although we never saw that come to fruition in the Ahsoka Disney Plus show, season 2 is happening, so never say never. Although on the idea and on the topic of the World Between Worlds as explored in the Ahsoka show and also in the Star Wars Rebels animated show, the Star Wars Rebels animated show more heavily does this so as into weighing into this idea of those what if scenarios, as we see Ezra and Ahsoka looking through different windows of time to see different scenarios essentially. So a lot of people thought that was going to be translated over to the live action Ahsoka Disney Plus show. It wasn't in that scenario or necessarily in that sense. That doesn't mean it still can't happen though. Anyway, perhaps what could be used here? Last year, What If director and executive producer from Marvel Studios, Brian Andrews, had revealed that Marvel Studios had turned down his request for a Star Wars crossover in the hit animated series, as into the sense of that what if they did a What If episode that was based on like Star Wars characters coming to Marvel and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or vice versa, essentially, having Marvel characters go into the Star Wars universe. It seems to be an idea, and one that's actually been pitched, and it's my first time actually hearing about that. I think that's something that would have been honestly quite incredible, and something I would still love to see in the What If Marvel Studios Season 3, or even in the What If for Star Wars, possibly, potentially. But I think that this does actually add onto the resume of that Disney, the House of Mouse overall, they do want to develop something under this kind of regards for Star Wars to have its own What If show. Seeing simply that they had turned down this idea to have an episode of the Marvel What If kind of interconnect with Star Wars as a crossover, essentially, because they were holding off, essentially, for the Star Wars What If instead. Now, he said that, in quotes, "I think that Kevin Feige really doesn't want to cross certain streams, but we did pitch. We actually had a Star Wars / Marvel crossover, so I think it's absolutely doable. I just don't know if Kevin Feige wants to cross those streams." But it's really funny. Once you get the realization of why, you go, oh, right, it totally makes sense. Ending that quote right there into the idea of like even this executive producer, a part of Marvel Studios, even thinks that Disney has this plan, like they're kind of saving this idea for a Marvel Star Wars crossover for maybe the Star Wars What If show even. He says it in another quote, "It won't rain on anyone's parade, but it would just be a love letter to old school Star Wars, and I think it would be great. And I don't know if we'll ever be able to do it, but we have thought about that kind of stuff." Ending that quote right there, that kind of question, that kind of idea is on the table, although it doesn't seem that Marvel, Disney, Lucasfilm, they want to do that right now though. And so, while likely assuming that that opportunity or that potential is still off the table for the time being, Lucasfilm is finally heading down this route with Star Wars will put them back into the good graces of the fans and the overall community, and the mind boggles at the many possibilities of a show like this could explore. As I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, of course guys, I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions and theories in the comments down below. What kind of what if scenarios and situations would you like to see from a galaxy far, far away interpreted in an animated Star Wars What If show? This thing totally seems to be on kind of the idea and on the focus for Lucasfilm, and especially with the idea that they want to keep their animated projects to the forefront and keep on doing them because it is very successful with the fans, and that they seem to always want to have some type of animated show on the board. It seems that, you know, the Bad Batch Season 3, acting at its final season, is going to clear a spot. So maybe an animated Star Wars What If show could take that slot. Anyway guys, of course, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.